If you've ever had a calf or hamstring cramp hit mid-workout, you know how fast it can stop everything. And the most frustrating part is this. You can be drinking plenty of water and still cramp. That's because cramps are rarely just a not enough water problem. They're usually a mix of fatigue, nerve signaling, and how your body handles minerals and fuel under stress. Think of a cramp as your muscle's emergency brake. It's your nervous system reacting when the muscle is pushed near its limit, especially in a new or intense movement. Hydration matters, but it's only one piece of a bigger puzzle. In the next few minutes, you'll get a clear mental model of why cramps happen, what makes them more likely, and what you can change in training and recovery to reduce them. No gimmicks, just practical, evidence-informed ideas you can test on your next week of workouts. Moving to slide 2. First, let's define what a cramp is in plain language. An exercise cramp is a sudden, involuntary, painful muscle contraction that you can't immediately relax. It often hits calves, feet, hamstrings, or the abs because those muscles do a lot of repetitive work. What's important is that cramps are not the same as general muscle soreness. Soreness builds over hours and days. A cramp is immediate and intense. Also, cramps are different from a strain, which is an injury to muscle fibers. Most cramps are more like a control problem than a damage problem. Your muscle and your nervous system are in constant communication. When that communication becomes unstable, often under fatigue, the muscle can lock on. That's why cramps show up late in a hard session, at the end of a long run, or during the final reps of a set when form starts to break down. Moving to slide 3, the strongest modern explanation for many workout cramps is the altered neuromuscular control idea. Here's the simple version. Your muscles have sensors that tell your spinal cord how stretched the muscle is and how much tension it's producing. Under fatigue, that feedback can get distorted. The system can shift toward more go signals and fewer stop signals. The result is a runaway contraction that you experience as a cramp. This also explains why stretching sometimes helps quickly. Stretching increases the signal that says this muscle is lengthening, which can calm the contraction. It also explains why cramps often happen in a shortened position, like a pointed toe during swimming or a calf working hard at the end of a run. In those positions, the muscle is already shortened, and fatigue makes control even less stable. Moving to slide 4. So where does water fit in? Hydration affects blood volume, temperature control, and how hard your heart has to work. If you're significantly dehydrated, exercise feels harder, and fatigue arrives earlier. That alone can raise cramp risk. But drinking water doesn't automatically fix the underlying control issue, especially if you're already fatigued or underfueled. Also, hydrated is not binary. You can be fine at the start and still lose a lot of fluid through sweat. And here's a common trap. Drinking large amounts of plain water while sweating heavily can dilute sodium in your blood. That doesn't mean water is bad. It means water without enough electrolytes may not match what you're losing. For many people, cramps show up when hydration strategy doesn't match sweat rate and sweat composition. Moving to slide 5. Electrolytes are the next piece, and sodium is the big one. Sodium helps regulate fluid balance and supports normal nerve signaling. When you sweat, you lose sodium, and some people lose a lot more than others. That's why 2 athletes can do the same workout, drink the same amount, and only 1 cramps. Potassium, magnesium, and calcium also matter for muscle function, but sodium is usually the main electrolyte lost in sweat. If your workouts are long, hot, or very sweaty, replacing some sodium can help you maintain fluid balance and may reduce cramp likelihood for certain people. The key is context. A short strength session in a cool gym is different from a 2-hour run in heat. If you finish workouts with salt streaks on clothing, or you're a heavy sweater, electrolytes deserve more attention than just drink more water. Moving to slide 6. Now let's talk about intensity and pacing, because cramps often reflect a mismatch between what you're asking and what you've trained for. If you spike intensity, faster pace, heavier load, more volume, your muscles fatigue sooner. That fatigue increases the chance of the nervous system misfiring into a cramp. This is why cramps are common in races, competitions, or group classes where you push harder than normal. It's also why you might cramp when returning after time off. Your fitness is real, but your specific tolerance for that movement at that intensity may not be rebuilt yet. A practical way to think about it is, specific endurance. Your calves might be strong, but do they have endurance for that hill sprint workout? Your abs might be strong, but do they have endurance for high-rep hanging leg raises? Moving to slide 7. Technique matters more than most people expect. Small changes in joint position can overload a muscle that's already tired. For example, running with a lot of toe off and a stiff ankle can hammer the calves. Cycling with a saddle too high can overwork hamstrings. During strength training, letting your feet turn out or your arches collapse can shift load into the calves and feet. None of this means there's one perfect form. It means your default mechanics might be asking one muscle to do extra work, rep after rep. Under fatigue, that muscle becomes the weak link, and cramps are more likely. A good clue is consistency. If the same muscle cramps in the same movement, it's often a local overload issue. The fix is usually gradual. Adjust setup, reduce intensity briefly, and rebuild tolerance with cleaner reps. Moving to slide 8. Fuel is another underappreciated trigger. When you train hard, your muscles rely heavily on carbohydrates stored as glycogen. If glycogen is low, the workout feels harder at the same pace or weight. That pushes you into fatigue earlier, which again increases cramp risk through the nervous system pathway. Low fuel can happen if you train fasted, if you diet aggressively, or if you simply don't eat enough around long sessions. This doesn't mean everyone needs high carbs all the time. It means you should match fuel to the demand. Long endurance sessions, high volume lifting, and intense intervals are the situations where underfueling tends to show up. A practical sign is when the workout feels unusually slapped, and cramps appear alongside a general drop in power or coordination. Moving to slide 9. Temperature and heat stress deserve their own spotlight. In the heat, you sweat more, you lose more sodium, and your cardiovascular system works harder to cool you down. That combination accelerates fatigue. Even if you're drinking, your gut can only absorb fluids so fast, and you can still fall behind. Heat also changes how your nervous system recruits muscles because your body is protecting itself from overheating. That can make coordination slightly less efficient, especially late in a session. If you mainly cramp in hot conditions, the solution is often boring but effective. Acclimate gradually, reduce early intensity, and have a plan for fluids and electrolytes that matches your sweat rate. The goal isn't perfect replacement. It's minimizing the gap between what you lose and what you can realistically take in. Moving to slide 10. Let's clear up magnesium because it's one of the most common cramp theories. Magnesium plays roles in muscle and nerve function, and severe deficiency can cause symptoms. But for most people with a normal diet, magnesium deficiency is not the primary reason they cramp during workouts. Studies on magnesium for exercise cramps show mixed results, and benefits are not consistent. That doesn't mean magnesium is useless. It means it's not the first lever to pull if you cramp during hard sessions. If you suspect a dietary gap, it's reasonable to look at overall nutrition quality first. Whole foods, enough calories, and adequate minerals. If cramps are frequent, severe, or happen at rest too, that's a different situation and worth discussing with a clinician, because not all cramps are exercise cramps. Moving to slide 11. Now for something surprisingly practical. How to stop a cramp when it hits. The fastest tool is usually gentle, sustained stretching of the cramped muscle, combined with slow breathing. The goal is to reduce the contraction signal and restore control. Light massage can help, but don't aggressively force it. Then, once the pain drops, try a gradual return to movement at lower intensity. There's also interesting research on strong sensory inputs, like very sour or spicy stimuli, sometimes reducing cramp intensity by changing nerve signaling. The evidence is still developing, but it fits the idea that cramps are partly a nervous system reflex. For prevention in session, the best move is to respect early warning signs. If you feel twitching or tightening, back off briefly, change the movement slightly, and give the muscle a chance to reset before it locks up. Moving to slide 12. Prevention is mostly about training your cramp-prone muscles to handle the exact stress that triggers them. That means progressive overload, but with patience. If calves cramp on runs, add calf endurance work, and gradually increase time at the pace that triggers cramps. If hamstrings cramp in deadlifts, reduce load slightly and build volume with clean reps, then climb again. Also train the muscle at longer lengths when appropriate, because tolerance at long length can improve control. Warm-ups matter too, not because they prevent cramps magically, but because they ramp up coordination and reduce the shock of sudden intensity. Finally, track patterns. Cramps that happen only when you're underslept, underfed, or training in heat are giving you useful data. Use that data to adjust the plan, not to blame your body. Moving to slide 13. Let's put it all into a simple checklist you can actually use. If you cramp during workouts, even while drinking water, start by asking, am I pushing harder than I'm trained for in that specific movement? Next, consider sweat and sodium, especially if the session is long, hot, or you're a heavy sweater. Then check fueling, because low glycogen makes everything feel harder. After that, look at mechanics and setup, because repeated overload of one muscle is a common pattern. And finally, consider recovery basics like sleep and overall training load, because fatigue is the central theme in most cramp stories. If cramps are frequent, severe, happen at rest, or come with swelling, weakness, or numbness, get medical input to rule out other causes. If you want, share your experience. Do you cramp more from A, long endurance sessions, or B, heavy strength sets? And if this was useful, consider subscribing for more practical training science. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Health is